NXT going to be part of the main roster? Is it going to be a legitimate third or now fourth brand of the WWE, not just a developmental brand? Now, I will present my case. This has been mostly put forth by Matt. I say this is never going to happen. I will present my case. I'll let Matt present his case, and then we will go from there. Now, first off, we know that this is under the TKO umbrella. TKO, as we have found out, and we will continue to discuss today, is all about the money. Money, money, money. Money, money, money. Show me the money. Show me the money. Well, according to postwrestling.com, they actually, TKO just had their recent yearly earnings report. I didn't get a chance to see that, but I'm going with the other recent one they had as of 2022. So just a few years removed. TKO brought in $1.29 billion with a B, billion.
Gross revenue.
What they paid talent across everything is $195 million. That comes out to about 15%. Of that, the main roster, Raw and Smackdown, got for 130 talent members, $175 million. That averages out to about $1.5 million per performer. Obviously, this is skewed toward the top end earners, your Roman Reigns, your CM Punks, your Seth Rollins, Rhea's, and your Becky Lynch's. Because starting pay for the main roster is $350,000 per year. That's your start. For NXT and developmental, evolve and do whatever they do for the WWE ID schools, totals no more than $16 million. Now the average payment, average compensation per year for someone who's working in NXT, performing in NXT, is just under $73,000 per year.
Oof.
Of which they get a deal on their housing, but they pay for their own travel. They pay for their meals, except for catering at the shows. NXT does do house shows, which they do a lot of that. Since it's in state, they do a lot of that traveling on their own. Plus, they have classes, they have training sessions. It comes out to about $4 an hour is what they're being paid. Now, also, the PLEs, as Matt has said, that they're doing stuff with the CW and that they signed a big new deal. No, they didn't. Because they signed this media rights deal in 2024 for a 5-year deal, which is about $20 to $25 million per year. So what we heard is just an amendment to the existing deal, as their premium live events are no longer being shown on Peacock. They will now be shown on CW proper, starting with the Great American Bash later on this summer. Now, as far as PLEs go, or what NXT considers premium live events, they've had 4 this year so far. New Year's Evil, Vengeance Day, NXT The Vengeance, which was a 2-episode event, and Stand and Deliver. Of those 4, Stand and Deliver is the only one not held at the Performance Center. Now, the CW, according to Deadline, has never turned a profit in its entire existence. And then in another article from the Hollywood Reporter. In 2022, the CW was acquired by Nexstar. They acquired 75% of it. Now losses have narrowed, but in 2023, the CW lost $273 million, and they've continued to be negative quarter over quarter over quarter. Now, on the CW, NXT is the second highest rated show. But even that, so you might think, okay, so that's a big deal. Again, not exactly. Starting from this year, they had a peak viewership on February 17th of 744,000. Their average is about 607,000 per episode.
Wow.
Contrary, on SmackDown, on the USA Network, their peak was on the 30th of January, 1.8 million. On average, they rank about 1.39 million viewers. Raw on Netflix, that's a little wonkier because streaming services really don't disclose their viewership numbers. But as far as 2026 goes by Netflix's own numbers, over the first 7 days, Raw averages just over 3 million viewers per episode. This is just domestically. This is not counting national numbers. So NXT will never become a main roster brand because it's in TKO's best interest not to have it there. It is cost effective, and you're not paying for travel, and you're not paying for a lot of things. It is a very cheap brand to do for cheap entertainment, which they're really not getting a big return back from. So that is my case on why NXT is going to remain a developmental brand. Matt, make your case.
Okay, so let's start with the premise that Triple H has always wanted it to be another brand. But let's move on from that. It doesn't matter what the CW itself makes as profit because they're willing to pay for this. And I can guarantee you in 3 years or when this contract is up, there's going to be other bidders for this contract, which means, so I don't remember the number, but let's say it was $30 million that they paid for NXT CW. Someone's going to offer 40 or 50 million or whatever it is, because as we all agree, wrestling is a content. It's really inexpensive to produce relative to the earnings you can get on it, right? Compared to making like a Star Wars movie or something.
Oh,
okay. Wait.
Well, I've got to do a little business here because we have someone who's just arrived.
Oh, okay.
And that is Mr. Lawrence Knight. How are you, sir?
How are you guys?
I am wonderful. Good to see you. Glad you can make it. We are discussing why, in my opinion, NXT is going to remain a developmental brand. It is never going to be a legit main roster brand, basically because it's very cheap to do, and TKO does not have to spend a lot of the money to keep this product going. Matt is just making his case right now as to why it will be. Matt, continue.
Anyway, someone's going to, like I said, there's going to be a bidding war for NXT, just like there is for the other WWE brands, right? And that alone to TKO and I keep calling them Embracer. It's another Endeavor. That's going to lead to higher, like them wanting returns on these groups. You know what I mean? And yeah. And give me 1 second, guys. Okay. One thing is cookies. There should be cookies in there somewhere. They're bringing me something. So yeah.
Cookies, all right. I like it.
Okay. So that alone is going to have TKO / Endeavor saying, wait, we got to maximize profit the same way they're doing with this contract situation, which we'll talk about later, right? So that pushes pressure on, let's say, the controlling entity. Okay. The controlling entity of WWE, Triple H, whomever is in that role, whatever, to
Nick Khan.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying not to be person specific. I'm just saying the board or whatever.
Okay.
In 3 years, they're going to have to say, wait a minute,